providing them some feedback. Starting right off the bat, I will turn it over to Brian Gillis. Huge round of applause for Brian.
This is Aveda, and I want to thank the COP for hosting. This is a lovely little facility we have in here. It's amazing. So, first we'll start just with our land acknowledgement, everyone. So we acknowledge that we live and learn on Treaty 8 territory, present-day home of the Cree, and we recognize free actions, bridge and build relationships with Indigenous families, Indigenous students. Okay, so let's talk about the best part first. Let's talk about me. So if you're wondering who I am referred to as the Career School Engagement Coordinator. So really what that means is I'm shared between the 3 school divisions and the Next Generation. It's a nonprofit organization. And really my job is to help increase awareness for pathways, how to completion, really what students might be looking at as they get work. Anything job related is kind of my domain. I can spend a lot of time working individually with students on resumes and cover letters, try to teach them some interview skills and job searching techniques, anything that might help prepare them. Thank you. Of course, I do a lot of class presentations as well. Offering the same time. So I've been in this role for about a year and a half now. In July 2023, the provincial government kind of set a new tone for education. I really wanted to make students more aware of the opportunities that exist out there. And mostly a lot of this came from the area of skill trades. Built on trades, and really that's probably not what we really feel it's important to make students aware of the opportunities that exist, how they can use some of those career pathways while in high school. We'll go through all of that. Mandate letter itself, which you can view online if you want to, is really to increase awareness for careers of the next generation, awareness for campus opportunities, and dual credit awareness. We will talk about that today. And at that time, about a year and a half ago, the province had committed to invest $20 million. Student figures benefit $30 million at this point. So this is a big push that's province-wide. Okay, so this is a lot of the stuff that I do in there in the classroom. So we do a lot of career exploration, and one of the first things I do with classes is try to get rid of the notion that they may, go to school, finish high school, decide on a pathway which may include entering into the workforce, or maybe going on to post-secondary education. Then they'll finish that, find a job, work that for a long time, possibly retire. Right? For some, I'm sure that is certainly going to be the career pathway that they choose, but personally, I can say that I've had, I would say, 10 jobs over the last years. I don't feel like that makes someone like myself unsuccessful in any way, just more experience. So I right? But I really do feel that students and their parents and guardians should try to help explore more options and realize that many students and youth and even adults out there, your pathway is going to change quite a bit. And don't be so afraid of that. They finish school and try out a job. Guess what? You're going to go back to school to try something different, right? And that may happen several times. So I don't believe that's anything to be afraid of, but I do think that planning early and becoming aware of this now is really crucially important. It's positive stuff. Okay, so when I enter the classrooms as a school engagement coordinator, these are mostly the things that we're talking about. So we do a lot of discussing career options and what that entails and how to carve out that particular pathway. We encourage exploration, and I would hope and kind of urge any parents or guardians out there to participate in that process with your students. Certainly sure that if you're more aware of things, they'll be more prepared for that. Again, we can talk about pathway awareness, we talk about the importance of setting goals, what does post-secondary education look like, and how to overcome challenges to actually going through post-secondary education or whatever your options are for that career path. These are a lot of the activities that I bring into the classrooms, but they are certainly activities that can be done at home as well. And here are just some of the things that we look at. So ALICE is a website, it's a provincial government website. Truly, it is all about education and training. So it's a great place for anyone to start just to kind of discover something interested in, or your skills and your abilities. All of those things can help one discover things about themselves that might in turn help lead to a career pathway, or at least open the eyes on some options that. My Blueprint is another tool that's provided by the school divisions. At this point, like I said, I do a lot of work with resumes and cover letters and job interviewing skills and job searching skills and that sort of stuff. A lot of that ties into skill development. So, life skills such as adaptability, communication, teamwork, collaboration with others, and so on. So they are all very important skills that will develop not just as a student, but throughout the remainder of your life. And then we do bring in careers to the next generation. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. Really, that is trying to help students become more aware of the possibilities of, doing some work experience or internships and getting them to good candidates, students to employers, children. So it's really important to think about this stuff because as one enters into high school, you can start to make decisions that are pretty early on in life, right? So here are just some stats for some impact for you. But in Alberta, by 2028, as you can see, there are 7,000 new skilled trade job openings in this province alone. That's a lot of work that's going to be available. And we probably in the past haven't done a good enough job at filling these positions. Again, as I said earlier, especially in Alberta with their economy, these jobs are plentiful and really will lead to careers and success and stuff. So I think 70% of the jobs in Alberta require some form of post-secondary education that may not entail university or college, trade schools, technical schools, any other kind of programming after high school. And then across the country, so by 2028, there's going to be roughly about 700,000 skilled trade workers that are going to retire. So again, there's going to be this massive hole in our economy from coast to coast, where we need to hopefully fill these jobs because this is going to drive something. Okay, so we'll switch gears a little bit. We'll just talk a little bit about high school. So graduation requirements. So what is entailed for one to graduate high school? So the first thing we should know is that it does require 100 credits. So that's the magical number that one must achieve to get a high school diploma. So in doing that, there are 4 courses that everybody is required to take. And they're listed here, so I won't read them all. But these are ones that all students must take. Beyond that, there are some options that do follow after that. So you still have to achieve a certain amount of credits in certain areas and stuff like that. And on the right-hand side of the slide, where it talks about 30-level courses, they're really like, I guess, in a grade 12 course. So there is a lot of options that one can pick and choose. But for those that are going to be entering the high school, it's a really important time to find out what are you interested in? What are your abilities and skills or characteristics that might be? Because that stuff will for sure lead to courses that one may want to take, right? And it's so important because, for example, if we have someone that wants to maybe get into nursing and MWP, well, there are certain courses that a student must pass at a certain grade point in order to be eligible for such program, right? And the other thing is that there is a lot of competition in the world, not just for jobs, but also for students in schools, secondary institutions. So knowing these pathways, picking courses that might line up with one's interests, picking courses that might actually help in further continuing education afterwards is really important. And it's a really good way to make sure that your students progress through this. Okay, so with all of that for graduation requirements and everything, for students that might already attend opposite high or those that will be attending, just know that there are a lot of supports. There are a lot of people in place here to help with all questions and concerns that one might have. So on the screen here, these are your academic advisors here at Opposite High. So feel free to reach out to them at any time with any questions about courses or other things. So utilize those people because they are there to help us. And I'll just go through the others here for everyone. So Charles Spencer High School, same thing. We have 2 academic counselors there. As you can see, it does list which counselor can see. So that can always be figured out pretty easily. And then for our friends at the Grand Prairie Catholic and Peace Wapiti School Division, so we've invited here and they help to plan all these events. So those that might be watching online, just know that those people are in place there as well. So we have a couple of advisors for the school division, St. Joe's. The Peace Wapiti, so the PWA, we have 1 academic advisor. And for all the other schools out there in Peace Wapiti, Land, all up in the county and further out distances, I would really urge just contact your school administrations to find out who these people are in schools. So those people are in place and will be able to help. Okay, so we'll switch gears now a little bit to some of this off-campus programming. So off-campus programming really is a wonderful opportunity for a student to leave the classroom, leave the school, and go out into the real world and get that hands-on kind of experiential learning, right? Kind of learning that sometimes the classroom can't offer. And certainly the kind of learning that for certain students is the best way for them to learn and receive messages. So we do have work experience, registered apprenticeship program, which is we have the green certificate full credit. So I'll just go through a couple of slides for both, just the highlights and things so that you're a little aware of that. So with work experience, these are courses that provide students with the opportunities to kind of develop the knowledge and skills that we needed while in the workforce, right? So truthfully, these kind of positions can be almost anything out there. If the student is working part-time at the fast food restaurant, or if they are working part-time really anywhere as a student, they can actually fill out paperwork, get some credits for that under work experience. So really awesome opportunity. You know, you may take some courses in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and school and you go to work. So a couple of really important things about that is, 1, you get paid. Well, that's a really cool thing. Trust me, high school students with money in their pocket is a lot better than not in there. And you also get to earn credits to complete high school. That's pretty awesome if you ask me, because you're earning credits to leave high school and you're not even actually in the building. That's pretty sweet. So just note too that for most schools, like all the literature for Alberta education talks about off-campus opportunities that the student should be 15 years or older. I can tell you that sometimes the schools prefer that the student is actually 16 years of age with a driver's license. Because all of these scenarios with this off-campus stuff, it's the student's responsibility to get to and from the job. Schools don't provide the transportation or the buses or anything, right? So any questions on that or anything, you would really come to the school and just speak with the off-campus coordinators, which I'll introduce you to in a second. Okay, and then we have the registered apprenticeship program. So the RAP program, as you might have heard before. So again, RAP students are both high school students and registered apprentices in a skilled trade. So in Alberta, we have over 50 skilled trades, and it's an amazing opportunity for a student to actually start that journey while in high school. And it's the same thing, like you get to earn money. So you're making money as you're out there learning the skills and hopefully building a pathway for your future. And you are earning those credits towards your high school completion. So same thing. With the RAP program, you're also earning hours towards your like first year ticket, second year ticket, or however many years that trade will entail, right? Most of them being a 4-year process. But all of those things the student is taking care of while they're not even here. So just think of that, because there are, like I said, a lot of skilled trades. And if one does some investigation and exploration, you might actually find that your student or themselves are interested in a skilled trade job. And there is lots of work in those jobs. There's going to be, that's really cool. Again, a RAP program usually will require that the student is of age, older, but again, just reach out to the schools for particulars on it. We have the green certificate. So the green certificate is actually very similar to the RAP program, but it's all based around the agricultural sector in many different ways. So again, 15 years of age, your supervision, just like all the other programs, you're earning that money, you are earning your credits towards completing high school. And at the end of this, if the student completes a few of these different specialized areas under the green certificate, they actually get like a level 1 natural technician call. And that's really cool because that opens the gateway to a lot of different jobs in the agricultural sector. Entrepreneurialism, business, agricultural business, all that sort of stuff. So you can specialize in, I think, about 50 fields. And of course, this is if your school is available and set up for this. So again, schools find out what's available. And then finally, we have dual credit. So dual credit is pretty awesome if you ask me. This is where a grade 11 or a 12 student can actually enroll in university programs, earn credits on both sides for high school and post-secondary. So Grand Prairie Public School Division has partnered with NWP. So there's a whole lot of different programs that are available for students that participate in this. Some of the things that you really want to be aware of is that, so obviously these students, it allows for a really smooth transition once after high school, right? So that's really important because a lot of times we struggle with that. We're not sure how to actually make that jump, because it is a big jump from high school to something else, right? So it allows for the smooth transition. Because you're enrolling in high school and you're going to do the dual credit for the post-secondary, maybe that's going to leave you with less debt. I can tell you when I went to university, my parents were not rich. I didn't have a savings and I did not win the lottery. So I took out student loans. And it took me a long time to pay back $52,000. So if you could knock a little bit of that out when you're in high school, I would say go for it for sure. The tuition costs for these courses are covered by the Grand Prairie Public School Division, so that's great. There could be some costs associated with books or other little things. That's really going to be determined probably between the school, secondary, and the student. And then there's a $300 kind of caution fee. Really think of that as a security deposit. Once the student completes the course successfully, then that gets returned. So really, there's almost no cost for this student. If there is, they would be minimal. It's really probably just around both sides. So, but again, any more information wanted on that, just go to the schools and ask. I don't think I'll take them through, but I guess by putting this up, we'll just show you that. So for Grand Prairie Public School Division, There's a link on the page that will show you all of these different kind of on-campus opportunities. So you can go in and learn a little bit more about the RAP program, work experience, and so forth. And the same thing with the other divisions too. So just know that all of this information is accessible and readily. Okay, so for all the work experience, RAP program stuff, a lot of those kind of off-campus opportunities, there are staff within the schools that we call off-campus coordinators. So really, they're the teachers that are involved in supervising the students that enroll in these programs, making sure the student is eligible or is qualified to be able to do this stuff. So for any further questions on any of those programs, for the Thompson High School, you can see Mr. Evan Krennick, the off-campus coordinator. So feel free to shoot him an email and ask any questions or maybe bring him about some opportunities that exist. And then over at Charles Spencer, Mr. Joe Laval, same Charles. So aware of that, those people exist in the schools for all sports. And then with our friends at the Catholic School Division, Dave McPherson takes care of both St. Joe's and JP2, so he plays that part in both schools. Over at PWA, we have Shannon Stewart, the registered apprenticeship program or work experience person there. And again, just for all our friends out there swapping land, just know that there are people in your schools too, so just reach out to those administrations. Okay, and then as I said at the beginning, so my job is shared between the 3 school divisions and careers, the next generation. So careers, their whole mandate is trying to get students out into the world of work, whether that's through the RAP program, paid internships, work experience, you name it, we want students out there working, right? So careers will focus highly on skill trades, also focus a lot on ICT, like communication technologies. Healthcare is a big one. It's out there. They do a lot of work on agriculture, forestry, and then there are specialized areas too, where careers tries to work a lot with young women that may be trying to break into non-traditional kind of women, or also we do a lot of work with Indigenous students trying to bring them up. So just be aware that careers is out there, and quite often in the schools, recognizable. So if you have any questions, you can come find. So the process, just so you're aware of it a little bit with careers. So maybe I have the order of these maybe a little mixed up. The first thing you should do for students interested in signing up with careers is probably reach out to your off-campus coordinator in the school. And then they'll have the discussion with the student as to whether or not this is something that is a good fit for them, if they're kind of on track with their studies and that permits them to participate. And then beyond that, it's really just completing an online application. And that's where someone like myself can come in, is I can travel to the school and one-on-one with students to go over that application. And then it's really just about approval and making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted between the school and careers and the employer and everything. And then the student is required to have a resume and a cover letter for this process. And again, if they need supports for that, I do that as well. And it has to almost be in a certain format for careers to present to employers. So oftentimes that's a little tricky for students. And then beyond that, once we have that all set up, then really we start to try to share those applicants with employers out there that are looking on those RAP students, right? So that could entail a job interview. We're going to guess that most of the students don't get hired on the spot when they're trying to get into these kind of positions. So we can help with job interview and stuff like that. Lots of supports for the students. A few things I'll mention with this. So again, as I said earlier, student enrolls in off-campus program, and it's like their responsibility to get to and from the job. Same thing here, like careers won't provide the transportation for the student over bus or anything. So that's really important. And oftentimes, a student may sign up with careers, go through the application, we have everything ready to go. The students will ask me, can I go out and try to find my own route placement? Of course they can. Absolutely, I would encourage that. Careers does a great job working for employers in the community, finding those route positions, but they're not always available. So we always encourage students to do your own job searching as well. In that case, if they did find a job, or like the route placement on their skill trades, that still counts. So it doesn't really matter how the student gets the job, as long as they. So for those of you that came in first, over on the table there is a small careers postcard, which on the back has the same QR code here. So scanning that will lead you to a quick little form that you fill out. And to myself, and then we reach out and meeting and see what we can plan. So some of that exists in every. And then just a little plug for the City of GP, the Youth Career Discovery Expo, taking place on Thursday, May 8th at Bonnets. It was a wonderful event last year. The whole place was full of employers and vendors and stuff like that. The place was full and buzzing with students throughout the whole day. So we're there last year. You got to check it out. It's really all the employers here in our region are going to be there, and they're there for you. They're there for the students to make them aware of this stuff. So I can tell you that a lot of the schools may be providing the transportation to get their students there. So if you're unsure, just speak with your current school administration, find out, because it's an event that you really don't want to miss out on. It's a lot of fun last year. It's a lot quicker for me than I thought it was going to be. Does anyone have any quick questions for me before I turn it over again? Straightforward stuff. So, okay, well, thank you very much.
You're willing to pop up. We have a representative from NWP who speaks specifically to some of the dual credit programs. So we want to take advantage of this opportunity. Nothing like putting me on the spot, but that would be great.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Haley Leverson. I'm the Career Services Coordinator at Northwestern Polytechnic, or previously Grand Prairie Regional College. I help support all the dual credit that happens on our campus. We offer options both remote, so maybe you're taking something on your spare that you want to continue from your high school directly, or you can also come to our campus for specific courses too. There's lots of different things we offer for all sorts of different areas. So for example, right now we're working through a new cohort model where we have courses available in healthcare. So maybe you're interested in being a paramedic or a healthcare aide or getting ahead on nursing, that sort of thing. Maybe you're interested in becoming a teacher or working in early learning and childcare. There's really so many options. We've got arts options. Maybe you know you want to be a lawyer someday, but you want to get ahead. There's so many different ways that you can participate. And like he was kind of speaking to earlier, there's so many ways to make it accessible for you too. So though the transportation is your deal, ultimately you can also just choose to take a remote course. There's lots of different opportunities. I have some cards, so I might just put those near the door, but feel free to come chat with me if you have specific questions and I can kind of help you out from there. Based on dual credit, I guess. Do you have any questions for me right now? Okay. Anything else that I'm kind of missing? I don't think so. Yeah, there's really something for everybody, which is really exciting. So awesome.
Love the enthusiasm. Fantastic. I know there's a lot of information, and you might not think of a question until you're driving home tomorrow or the next day. Brian mentioned it before. Please do contact any of the school's administrators. They can at least direct you to who will find that out. The key part with everything that we're doing, trying to better prepare everyone. That's not just students within our school, but families as a whole. So it's a team working together to try to get most of the information out to you so you can make informed choices. We're going to switch gears into the second part of our presentation. And